It's August 1st, 2024, and it's time for another monthly update video. I'm going to talk about what you might have missed from July. A lot took place last month, and what we've got coming up this equally long, fortunately, month of August. So I always like to begin by talking about three big things. So here they are. First of them is something I'll talk a little bit more about in the August portion. We have a new online synchronous class on Friedrich Nietzsche's Genealogy of Morals coming up starting on August 31st. So pay attention and you will see plenty of announcements about that coming out this month if you're interested in signing up for the class. Big thing number two, and this is a really big thing, we're trying out a new to me, platform, StreamYard, which will allow me not just to stream to YouTube, but to other platforms as well and do a couple other cool things with it. So we'll see how it works. I'm going to be trying it out this month and incorporating it. And big thing number three is I'm going to be starting classes again, academic classes, teaching for Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, where I have two classes, and we're not quite sure, but there is the possibility that I may also be teaching for Marquette University. Again, we'll see how that actually pans out. So those are the three big things. Let's talk now about July. We had a lot of events going on, all of them online in July, which means that there's videos of them out there that you can watch if you weren't able to participate in them in real time. We always kick the month off with an Ask Me Anything session, and that one was quite good. We also, did the Wisdom for Life show, both on the radio, and we do videos of that. And classic metal class, we were joined by my friend and colleague Rob Coulter for a discussion, and that was a little bit impromptu. That particular video that you see released, but then Rob Coulter also came on for classic metal class this time, and we interviewed him about a class, philosophy and heavy metal, that he taught an academic class at University of Wyoming, where he is the chair of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies. Worlds of Speculative Fiction, it was a really fun one. I did the first four, not chronological, but in terms of story, books of the Elric of Melnibone series by Michael Moorcock. And we might do some of those again down the line in another session, but we talked about some of the key ideas of the Eternal Champion and the multiverse. We did a story time with Sadler, but started that back up again, doing H.P. Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu, which is, one of my favorite stories by him. And we also did the self-directed study on Thomas Aquinas. I provide people with my advice about that, and then people chime in with their questions and comments. And I mentioned the class that Rob Coulter taught. Well, I also did a guest lecture for his class in the very first week, talking about the history of heavy metal and how we classify things as metal or not, and the various genres developing, some of them with their roots in the 70s and then others in the 80s and in the 90s. I did an Ideas That Matter conversation interview with Colby Granville, who is the founder and editor of After Dinner Conversations, a pretty cool site that's out there. I also did two Sadler Telling Stories videos, one about a professor who lived a good life, and unfortunately it came to an end as he was in a department agora. Also, another one about my skateboarding in the 1970s as a kid and teenager. I did a Sadler's Quick Takes that I've already had a couple good comments on. about not worrying about mispronouncing philosophical terms or names of authors and reasons why you don't have to be so concerned with that. I also did a very, very short video for the APPA, that's American Philosophical Practitioners Association website, where I have a profile as a practitioner, talking about me as a philosophical counselor. And I'm going to do a longer one, but I'll tell you more about that in the August section. And what else? I did a video that got a lot of views, 10 great literary works that I would bring to a desert island. People have been asking for that for a while, and so I finally got around to it, and I'm quite happy with that. And there were still 2 old intro to philosophy videos that I created originally for my Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design online students, and I decided to release to the general public one about different approaches in contemporary philosophy, like analytic, continental, classical American, history of philosophy, philosophy as a way of life, etc., etc. The other about thought experiments. And I did a good bit of writing this month, both in my Substack and in my Medium publications. In addition to that, I got some work done on my Epictetus commentary. It's slow going, but, making some progress. And in the Substack, I've been writing a series about Stoicism and grief. I actually just published the 4th installment in it yesterday. So you can see the links to all of those below if you click the show more or video description. What else? Did a lot of tutorial work, philosophical counseling work. And I also shot a sequence of core concept videos on Seneca's great work on the happy life. I believe that was a sequence of 10 or 11. I shot 3 videos, which you might have seen, finishing up Hume's inquiry concerning human understanding. Funnily enough, finishing it up by shooting videos on the very first section, which I never had produced any core concept videos on, because they were from my students in Marquette classes, and usually I'd skip the very first section, but I thought I should probably tidy that up. And then I started shooting videos that I've not yet released to the public, but I have been releasing to my channel members on various short stories by Jorge Luis Borges. So those are coming up in this month, but if you want to see them ahead of time, you might consider becoming a channel member. Sadler's Lectures podcast, I finished up the series on Frantz Fanon's Black Skin, White Masks, and then I did a whole long sequence on Ursula K. Le Guin's Tahanu. And why am I doing that? In part because I'm actually teaching a class, once again, Philosophy and Fantasy, Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea at Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design this month. It's beginning. So I need those podcast episodes as resources for my students. I also did a set of Sadler's lectures on St. Anselm's Proslogion, those recent parts of it that I got to in core concept videos. I've turned those into podcast episodes. So a lot going on in July. We also had of course, the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee, so parts of the city were kind of locked down. We had a whole bunch of other things going on, but that's probably enough about July at this point. Okay, so what is going on in August? Before I tell you about the events, I'm actually going to talk about classes just a little bit. So I know for sure that I'm teaching 2 classes at Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. One of them is that Ursula K. Le Guin Earthsea class, where we look at philosophical and particularly ethical and metaphysical themes in her entire Earthsea corpus, which is a lot of fun. Students get a lot out of it. We also look at artwork and cover designs and things like that. And then the other one, which is going to be really cool, is a writing class, which I'm teaching for the first time in designing to focus on, some really key professional development things, and also on classical rhetoric and how they can use that, and problems of AI that the students are going to face. It's called Writing for the Creative Professional, and so I'm really looking forward to that. I may be teaching 2 classes for Marquette University, or 1 class, or no classes. We don't know. I'll find out next week, which is a little bit last minute, but it often works out that way. But I've got a class that any of you, if you want to, can enroll in on Friedrich Nietzsche's Genealogy of Morals. We're going to have a 6-week online synchronous class. So that means it meets 4 class sessions, 90-minute class sessions each week on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. It's very important that you check your time zone if you don't live in the Central Time Zone. And I am going to be leading you through one of my favorite of Nietzsche's works. As a matter of fact, one that I began studying closely in the original German, a little under 30 years ago. So it's been something near and dear to me for a long time. It's going to be a great online class. You will see announcements about it coming out starting, this week, and we'll have all sorts of cool stuff about that you can check out. So what about events? All the events that I'm doing, with the exception of one, are online. So any of you that want to participate in them can. Again, times are central. I do also have one in-person event that I'm pretty excited about as well. So we kick off on the 3rd, which is a Saturday at noon, with our usual Ask Me Anything session. And it is kind of cool that people keep asking different questions, right? I do get some of the same stuff, which tend to be things like, what do you think of this philosopher? But I do get a great mix of other questions as well. Then on the 3rd at 2 p.m. Central, we have a perk for Patreon supporters, philosophy chat. Actually, the AMA is brought to you by Patreon supporters too. So if you're interested in being in the philosophy chat, which is a little bit more intimate discussion, you might want to consider becoming a supporter. On the 8th, which is a Thursday at noon, I'll be doing story time with Sadler, reading a work by Philip K. Dick. It's a very short story, but a really cool one about being human. And so that might be one that you could be interested in as well. The story is actually called Human Is. So, you can't get any more succinct than that. On the 10th at noon, I'll be doing Worlds of Speculative Fiction. We begin with a video premiere, and then we shift to Zoom for a more intimate conversation. You can participate in the chat. In the video premiere, I'll be there and responding to questions and comments and things like that. Who are we doing this time around? Terry Pratchett again, who we did last year. This time around, we're looking at 5 novels, all of whom have as one of their central characters Death, the man who speaks in all capitals. So that should be a lot of fun. I hope you can join me for that. Then on the 14th, which is a Wednesday at 6 p.m., we have a local event. Hosted by the Frank Weyenberg Library in Mequon, basically on the border of Thiensville and Mequon. And this is going to be, Philosophers in the Midst of History. We talk about the historical context and their contributions to history. Who do we have lined up this time? Immanuel Kant. So big, heavy hitter in those terms. On the 22nd at noon, we will be having another self-directed study video. This one is going to be about Augustine of Hippo. I'll be giving my advice about, how to start, what to keep in mind, what books can be most useful. On the 24th at noon, we'll have another session of classic metal class. That's me and my good friend and fellow metalhead Scott Trulli, discussing all sorts of intersections between music theory, music history, metaphysics, ethics, all sorts of things put together. So that's on the calendar. And we have a lot of regulars who show up for that, participate in the chat. On the 31st, we will begin the online Nietzsche class. And then that'll be at 10 in the morning. And then at noon that same day, we have Understanding Anger 2.0, and we'll be talking about Seneca's On Anger Book 2, all the insights and ideas that are contained in that. So, I imagine it's going to be a pretty busy month with classes starting. There's a lot of prep work that has to be done before that. And also, I'm doing tutorials, philosophical counseling. I've picked up some new clients, and I'm continuing with some old clients as well. Some people are coming back from summer vacation and picking up their tutorials. And then we've got, some video work. So all of these events will have videos, but I'll also be getting to some of those long put off book reviews. I also do want to get to the non-alcoholic beer reviews. Gotta find some time to do those. I'll do some more Sadler stories. As a matter of fact, I've actually got one in the hopper that I shot earlier this week that I'll be releasing later on. I might do some more quick takes videos, giving some useful advice that people can use. I'll be doing some videos as well about the classes in the Study with Sadler Academy, the Nietzsche class. I've also got a Plato class that is coming out this month as well. But that's an asynchronous, you work at your own pace kind of class. And I'm hoping to do some videos about the various services that I offer, like philosophical counseling and tutorial sessions, and maybe a few other things as well. And then those Borges videos in the Speculative Fiction Studies series that I've already begun releasing to my channel members, I will be releasing those to the general public starting pretty soon. And I'm going to be shooting some additional videos. I don't know whether I'll release them this month, but I'm certainly going to be shooting them this month on Seneca's On Tranquility, which is another great text that people have been asking for. I did a poll, and that seemed to be the favorite. What about the podcast? Well, I've got two podcasts, actually. Mind and Desire, which is a perk for my Substack paid subscribers, but then I release those later on to the public down the line. And then there's the Sadler's Lectures podcast as well. So Cicero's On the Nature of the Gods, I'll be doing an entire sequence of podcast episodes on that. I've got some episodes on Hume's Inquiry coming out after those. And then I've got to do some Le Guin. I've got to do the fifth Earthsea book, Tales from Earthsea. And there's a few other odds and ends that I've got to get to as well. So a lot happening. I should mention one other thing that I kind of slipped my mind. It's going to be my birthday, August 18th. If you're interested, I put together a list because people are always asking, hey, what would you like? The list basically includes Loeb classical editions, metal t-shirts, and various non-alcoholic beer. Those are the things that I, most enjoy that are within affordable ranges for people. So if, I'll put the list. If you want to send me something, you can go ahead. Sometimes I do like a streaming event on my birthday, but this time both of my kids are actually going to be here. And so we're going to just spend time together as a family doing fun stuff like playing Catan, making food together, going to see the cats at Almost Home, maybe going, hiking or to the museum, or who knows what else we're going to get up to. But that's what we've got going on. So that is July. That's August. I hope that you can join me for some of these online events. And I hope it's a great and productive month for you. And I'll see you somewhere down the line.